Alright, I am back with another Destiny video here in the new year. It's 2021, and as ever, there's a lot to talk about in Destiny. It's kind of a coin flip between whether I wanted to do a big thing on the whole stasis PvP drama that unfolded recently, or if I wanted to talk about the Crow quests that dropped yesterday with some issues attached to it. But just talking about that overall, I think I landed in the camp that I want to do that, as my thumbnail and title might indicate. I'm going to be on a podcast tomorrow, I think talking more about the stasis stuff, so I'll save my thoughts for that. Today I wanted to just talk about the Crow quest, the good and bad of it, because it's essentially what I view as the season finale of Season of the Hunt. I know there's still a month left, and I know that there might be some stuff that still happens. We still have stuff with Zavala and the Cabal supposedly coming. That's likely going to lead into next season. We have Hawkmoon random roll farming, and there could be something just giant, secret, and surprising that happens. I'm not gonna hold my breath for that. The dream is always that they randomly drop some like 0-hour dungeon, but you know, how many months can you hope for that and, you know, be disappointed? So I never keep my expectations at that level. The Crow quest, though, is essentially the climax of the Crow's storyline from Season of the Hunt, in that he was brought back to life and then kind of enslaved by Spider, and we have been running hunts, quote-unquote, with him over the past few months, and then getting to know him a little bit. He is, you can talk to him weekly, and he's kind of like compassionate paragraphs that are delivered just via text that he's talking about like the plight of the Helsinki and how he wishes that we could save the Wrathborn and not just murder them all the time. So that's nice of him. And then we had the Hawkmoon Quest, of course, which was a really good bonding activity between us and our bro. I mean, he's an entirely different person than he was. He seems to have some flashes of memories of being Uldren, like his connection to the Fallen and I think the Scorn. And then I think he's talked about like maybe hearing his sister's voice in his head. Not that we've told him he has a sister yet, but there seems to be some kind of overlap there. But overall, he's a nice guy, and of course, spoiler alerts, the entire point of this quest was to get Spider to free him from his indentured servitude, where there's a bomb in his ghost if he leaves. This was the leaked kind of plot development that was based on an unfinished cutscene from a couple weeks ago that was data mined, and I got this spoiled for me, but it wasn't exactly hard to guess that this is where this was going. You know, it seemed pretty clear they were building it up this way, and then we got to see the fully realized cutscene this week after the mission. The mission itself is, I liked it. It felt, it felt like I wish the actual hunts had felt. It felt more like the Empire hunts, where they're more kind of involved. They're just longer, and there's even a champion or two in there. The boss has some kind of mechanics, at least, even though this mechanic was just essentially the same thing of killing a sub-boss to stand in the little green pool and then do more damage to the real boss. But I did enjoy kind of the chase all around the Dreaming City, and that felt like a fitting end for this kind of storyline. It's always been a little weird that we're hunting this nameless high celebrant that killed Sagira in a cutscene we didn't even see. It wasn't even a cutscene, it was just like a lore page that Bungie wrote about, and then a couple lines of dialogue. This also implies heavily that we are still going to be pursuing Xivu Arath herself on the way to Savathûn this fall. So this is just kind of stage one. I do think, even though we supposedly have killed the celebrant, and that is supposed to end all Wrathborn forever, we know from the lore that the Cabal have a Wrathborn problem. So I don't really think that's over, even if we've killed this thing. So we'll see what happens with that. I am 99% sure that next season is going to have something to do with the Cabal. I don't know if we're going to have another story mission after this to lead into next season. I kind of doubt it. I think it's probably just going to be a cutscene or something. The actual mission, I thought, was good. The bug that everyone's running into is that if you burned the boss too quickly, it would like bug out the mission. So if you killed it before you were supposed to, like if you were just dunking on it with Lament or something, especially if you're in a fire team, it's a 1250 mission, but like the Celebrant does not have a lot of health. Like I was just shooting a couple grenade launcher shots at it per encounter, and that would, like, once you're standing in the Wrath pool, that would get it down to enough to teleport. And then there's a different bug that may be related to this or not, where you have to shoot these blights to teleport you to and from the Ascendant Realm. And people, for some reason, those would bug out and people couldn't shoot them or do damage to them, so you would have to restart the whole mission. I know some people have not even been able to finish the mission at all, even after several attempts. I don't think Glad has been able to finish it after trying a bazillion times. Bungie had to issue the kind of hilarious help tweet that was like, please slow down when damaging the Celebrant in order to avoid it bugging out, which it's all not great, because it would have been nice to come back and like have this, mission. I didn't think it was launching this week. It was a surprise, but then for a lot of people, it was just completely bugged out and broken, and that became the main story over the actual mission itself and the plot developments. I did not encounter those bugs. I just played it solo. It was pretty straightforward. It wasn't hard, certainly. Like, I was surprised to see champions show up, but I didn't even need to put barrier mods on them because you could just burn them down too. And the boss fight wasn't hard. It was well structured, but it just wasn't challenging. I'm like 25, 30 power over what I'm supposed to be for it, even at 1250, which is the soft cap. So I don't know. It's a little anticlimactic, I guess, but I thought for what it was fine. I did find it kind of hilarious that they're doing this thing with Uldren where it's like, oh, like I'm in the real world and Uldren's in the Ascendant Plane, and then we switch, and then he's in the other one and he's talking to us and he's setting a trap over there, and like the lengths they're going to avoid us running missions with friendly AI is getting kind of absurd. And like, I hope for the long-term future of Destiny, they figure out some way to do a coherent friendly AI that can like fight alongside you in battle. And so we don't have to do these weird, awkward dances. Like, all of these missions this season would have been cooler if we were actually running them alongside Crow. He was like physically there instead of just on our radio. We have only seen this happen in a couple instances where it's like Saint or Zavala like holding a bubble shield for us. But like, it's 2021. Like, friendly AI is a thing and has been a thing forever. It's just never something that's been in Destiny. And the most we've gotten are like the frames that walk in a straight line and shoot the heads off goblins. That's not quite the same. But I don't know if they're ever going to invest in this. It seems like if they haven't by now, they probably won't. But that just struck me as weird. The one bug I did get was I did not get the exotic ship. I know only a handful of people got it, so I thought maybe that since you can't do the mission again afterwards, you have like one hunt a week. I thought maybe this would be something that we have to farm for every week, and there's like a chance of the ship dropping. But Bungie also issued a tweet that says that they were investigating rewards not properly dropping, so this also seems to be a bug. And then finally, this isn't a bug, but it is very strange to me that you go through all this, you do the Crow cutscene, you like free him from Spider, it's this great moment, like Crow's really grateful, and then you just go back to the Tangled Shore and Crow is just chilling in his spot like he always is, and he still says he's like Spider's henchman or whatever it's called, Spider's enforcer. And it's just so bizarre. Like, Bungie's storytelling just can't match up with its actual gameplay a lot of the time, and this has to be on like the technical side where like they can't create a unique instance of the shore and of like the tower where there's like a Crow there and a Crow not there for every single person. So when there is a migration made, it has to like happen all at once. We saw this in the past with Saint 14 where you would rescue him and then he didn't show up at the tower for a few days. But then he did, but then that created a situation where some people hadn't run his rescue missions yet because they were behind in the season, yet he was already in their tower, which gets a little weird. So Destiny has never really been great at doing stuff like this, and they have not quite figured out like the proper way to do it. This one just struck me as particularly weird because it's this like pretty heavy emotional moment that you free him, and then he's just chilling there. It is possible that they pull a Saint 14 thing and maybe just in a couple of days, they assume that most people have run this mission at least once, although it's so bugged that it's hard to recommend people actually run it yet. And then they might transfer Crow to the tower, the EDZ, or somewhere else then. It's also possible they're just waiting for another 5 weeks till the end of the season to do it then. Allegedly, next season is called Season of the Chosen, and that could mean a number of things. I do think we're going to see a lot more from Crow and kind of integrating him into Guardian society, as it were. I don't necessarily know he's going to be the Hunter Vanguard or anything like that. I still don't think that really makes sense, but we'll see if that's where they're going here. The rest of the season, I don't quite know what's going to happen. We may end up with a few surprises because we have like 5 weeks left. And these days, it doesn't really matter if something big happens at the end of the season because Bungie has said that seasonal content is sticking around all year. I am curious how this works with things like Wrathborn hunts, if those are sticking around, but Crow won't be a vendor for them anymore. So I'm wondering how things like that might change. In this case, like they might put the Hawkmoon random roll farm in the last week or two of the season, but it'll be active all year. I don't know if that arriving will have some sort of story component with Crow or not, but that should be a fire team activity with champions that we just kind of are using to farm this exotic that may produce the last 2 missing triumphs for Warden, which is another surprise this week because everyone who cared about it had filled out their entire card for Warden, but there were still 2 missing. That seems weird to me because even when there are secret triumphs, they usually say secret triumph and they're sitting there. My data miner friend JP said that it is tied to something exotic, so that does sound like it could be the Hawkmoon farm. If you really want to go all conspiracy, maybe there's some secret exotic quest coming, but I am not going to read into that much, so I would not get your hopes up for that. If it happens, sure, great, we'll be surprised and everyone will be happy, but don't bank on it. For now, we are in the final month of a season, which is always kind of a dead time in Destiny. It's just kind of letting people catch up on stuff if they haven't been keeping up with things every week. I'm just realizing now I forgot to get my penguin this week. I have never done any of the augments, so I am not on my way to getting my Beyond Light title. I'm going to have to do that at a different time. I don't like things that show up just for a week and then you have to do them, and then if you miss it, you have to wait like 9 more weeks for them to come back. I hate stuff like that. So I don't know if I'll ever get that done. Like I never finished Truth to Power because of that. But we'll see. I have liked this season overall in terms of its story arc. I thought the stuff with Crow was really good, and Spider, and our Guardian, who's actually kind of a personality this season. I thought all of that was really well done. The hunts themselves were very bad. They are probably the lightest season activity we have ever done. It's literally just slot things into a lure, drive on a sparrow for a little bit, and then burn a boss in 8 seconds. Like even the hardest difficulty of these hunts has been super easy. I am really hoping that if Wrathborn stuff does stick around and it's Cabal, that we're not just going to get like Cabal EDZ Wrathborn hunts or something. Like I really hope it's not that. I hope we have a substantive new activity next season. The seasons after expansions have generally been pretty good. That's what got us Season of the Forge with Black Armory, and what got us Season of the Dawn with Sundial, which at least in hindsight looks like one of the better seasons, though we didn't exactly know that at the time. We just thought that was like Menagerie Light. But now when we don't have Menagerie and we don't have Sundial, something like that sounds actually pretty good. So we'll see what happens. Stasis is a whole other can of worms. I'm expecting some sort of address to the PvP community to some extent in tomorrow's TWAB, so we'll have more to talk about then. They already very strongly hinted that Shatter Dive is going to get nerfed to some degree. That will be a tightrope to walk, so it doesn't just ruin it for PvE, because it's very fun in PvE, but it is a nightmare in PvP, so we'll see what they do to that. May have something to do with Whisper doing too much damage as a fragment, so I don't know. We'll see. But it's been a dramatic time, shall we say, in Destiny, more so than usual, with kind of tension spilling over between PvP stuff and sunsetting and content vaulting. So we'll see what next season brings. They should be starting to tease it soon, so we'll see what happens there. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time, and I don't know what there's to talk about the rest of the season, but there's probably going to be something, so I will see you guys then. Thanks.